you all see my screen? Perfect. So today we're going to be covering Facebook ads and follow-up. So we're going to go through how to create a Facebook ad, and then we're also going to go through how to set up a smart plan so that the leads that you gather from your Facebook ad, they're being contacted automatically. So imagine you're running a Facebook ad for a listing, and hopefully you've gathered some leads. These are cold leads that are very hard to convert. You don't know if they actually want to buy a house. Some people just click things out of curiosity. Some people click things by mistake. And a lot of times they're going to forget that they even clicked on anything. So it's important that you're following up with those leads promptly. So that's where the smart plan comes in, because you can set it up so those leads start getting messages pretty much right away as soon as you get them. And if you get, or you have a really good ad and you get like 50 leads, you don't want to have to be sitting there texting and calling all 50 people. You have a lot better things to do with your day, I'm sure. So we're going to go through that. Let me see. Okay, so we're going to start in the settings. I just want to explain Twilio for a second before we dive into it. So Twilio is an automated texting service that you can use through command. If you want your smart plans to be able to text your leads, you do have to use Twilio. So I have the page here. So it is a paid service. The smallest plan is $3.16 a month for 300 credits. That's not 300 texts, 300 credits. So one SMS text is 1 credit, both when you send one and when you receive one. A picture message, I believe, is 2 credits. Let me see. Oh, 3 credits. Let me see. Any unused credits, they do roll over to the next month. So if you have the 300 credit plan and you only use 100 this month, that 200 will be added to next month. So you'd have 500 credits. So you don't lose those credits if you don't use them.
The credits expire after 1 year. So if you're rolling over from January of 2021, come January 2022, they expire. But if you're not using 12-month-old credits, then you should probably just cancel your subscription.
Can you pause your subscription until your credits get lowered?
I don't know. I will look into that.
Okay, so yeah, so the credits do count for sending and receiving. So when you receive a text, that's 1 credit, and when you send one, that's 1 credit. So just keep that in mind. So there is call forwarding as well. So Twilio does use a separate phone number than your phone number, but you can forward it. So if you're texting someone from your Twilio number and they try to call it, you can have it so it forwards it to your cell phone so that the call is still coming through to you. This costs 3 credits per minute with a +1 country code, so Canada and the US. Let's see, and 5 credits per minute for other country code numbers. And it does cost you 6 credits to set that up, just a one-time 6 credits. And on this page here, it does go through all the different plans. The 300 credit is the smallest, but if you're using a lot, you can go up. That's it there. So back in the settings,
that those dollar numbers are American. So the 300 credits was $3.16, so you'll get charged like $4.
Yeah, so in your command settings, once you do have it set up, you can see what your Twilio number is here. Let's tell you that. And I think that's it for Twilio. Okay. So one other thing that we're going to do in the settings is we're going to create a tag that we can add to any of the leads that come in from your Facebook ad. This will make sense later on when we go through this smart plan. So we're just going to go to command settings and then contacts and contact tags. So we're going to create a tag. I'm going to use 111 Green Village, and we're going to name it Facebook lead. So that way I'm going to run an ad for this listing, and this tag will be added to any of the leads that come through, just so you can tell where they came from. Choose a color and create. So like I said, that will make sense in a little bit. Any questions on Twilio or the tags? So we're going to go into Smart Plans. So if you click the KW up here, it'll open the menu on the side, and it's this icon here. So this is Smart Plans. On this page, it's going to show any of the Smart Plans that you've already created if you have. So those are there. You can create Smart Plans from scratch if you know exactly the steps that you want the Smart Plan to follow. If you're newer to Smart Plans, I recommend using the library. So the library has Smart Plans that have created both by KW and also by agents in KW. So the agents have created these for their own business, but they've chosen to share them with all of KW so other people can use them. So in the library, there is some featured ones up here, but because we're focusing on Facebook ads, I'm going to go to the search bar and type Facebook. So there's 307 Smart Plans about Facebook. So here it shows how many agents are using the Smart Plan. So that gives you an idea of if it's a good one, if a lot of agents are using it. There's also ratings. So you can rate them, or you can see what other people have rated them and how many ratings they have. It's like this one's 5 stars. It has 1,500 people using it. So it's probably a good one. And if you want to preview what steps are in the Smart Plan, you just click View Steps here. So I'm just going to click on the first one. So this is a small, simple one. First, it's going to send a text. So it says, "Hi, contact first name. I saw you were interested in the listing in my Facebook ad. Would you be interested in receiving more information?" So it's going to send that text. It's going to wait 3 days, and then it's going to send an email that you would configure. So that's a simple one. It's a short one. Might not necessarily be the best one because Facebook ads, like we said, are cold. You want to make sure that you're following up continuously. You don't want them to forget about you. So we're going to look for a longer one. Let's see. This is a good one here. I'm going to click View Steps. So this one goes over 31 days and has 13 steps and 8 touches. So that means there's 8 times where the client is going to be the lead is going to be contacted. So first it's going to create a task telling you to call them. So this will show up in the tasks section in Command. And then it's going to send them a text right away. So it says, "Hi, contact first name." It fills in the name of the lead. "This is Matt. You clicked on one of our listings on Facebook recently. Are you looking to buy in the next few months? We'd be happy to help." Then it's going to wait 4 days. It's going to send a simple email. And this is all editable. So when you see Matt Templeton, obviously that'll be changed to your information. You can go through and change any of it. So it's going to send an email and another text. It's going to wait 2 days. It's going to give you another task to call them. It's going to wait 6 days. It's going to text them again, and so on. So this one is a lot.
Sorry, Jess, a quick question within that. When you say that it's editable, do you mean right from this screen in this spot, or do we have to add the Smart Plan and then edit it?
Yeah, so once you add the Smart Plan and you're configuring that, which we'll go through, you'll see we can edit all of the fields.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one more thing, Jess, when you say that it gives you a task, is that when we first go into the home screen, it'll actually be under the contact saying task, you click on it, you do it. Okay. Because I just figured out 2 quick things is that I can do a task randomly, or I can do it under the contact name. Under the contact name is better. So this will actually all go together. That's good to know. Okay. Thanks.
So we like this one. So we're going to add it by clicking Add Smart Plan. It does need to have a unique name. I know Erin probably has a ton of these ones, so I'm going to name it the listing we're doing, and then hit download. And so up here it tells you that it has been added. So now when I go back to my smart plans, it's right here. And we're going to click the pencil, and that will bring you in to edit it. So here you can see the first one is make a call. So that's where it's going to create the task. You can change what the task name is, so how that'll appear just to you to remind you to call them. And here it says call contact first name, contact last name at contact phone. So it's going to fill the name and phone number of the lead in each task. There. And then the second one.
It just does that automatically because it's set up that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then it's going to send the text. And again, this is editable. So if I want to say this is Jessica, you clicked on one of my listings on Facebook recently. Are you looking to buy in the next few months? I'd be happy to help. Super simple to edit. You can do it that way.
So Jess, if I don't have a Twilio account and I want to use that and I want to replace it with, I could send my own text. You're right. Okay. Or
Exactly.
I can delete that one step.
Yep. So if you didn't want to use Twilio, the alternative is you can delete this. So we're going to remove this step from the smart plan. And then you can over here, you can add additional things. So you can add a task. So click create task, text so-and-so, something like that. And then you can use the arrows there to move it back up into that spot.
Okay, great.
Okay. So there we are. Okay. And then it goes to the email. So same thing, hi, contact first name. You can add additional fields. There's a ton of these kind of fields that do fill in. They're under this little Facebook icon. So there's contact first name, contact last name, all of these, birthday, phone number. So you want to say, this is agent first name, agent last name. It's going to fill in, this is Jessica Dort or this is Jen Demings. So then you don't have to type that out. So that's up to you if you want to use those.
In all of your guys' situations, it doesn't really make a difference if you type out your name or if you use those functions that Jess just showed. If you were a rainmaker of a team, you would build it this way so that everyone on your team, their name gets plugged in, right? So for individual agents, which everyone on this call is, it doesn't make any difference if you type out, this is Jen Demings, or if you put in, this is agent first name, agent last name. It's more so a team function, so it feeds through to everyone else on the team. However, the contact information, you definitely need to use that function. So it's personalized to each contact or lead.
All right. So yeah, so you can go through all of the different steps and edit them. You can delete them. So let's say I didn't want to make this call. I'm going to delete that. But you can see now we have 2 delays in a row. So you can't have 2 delays back to back. So if you delete something and now if there's 2 delays, you just have to delete one of the delays. So remove that. And maybe here you want it to be 5 days. You just click here, go up. So you can edit that. You could change it to that. You can type it in, whatever works. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
A quick question. If I'm doing a recurring Facebook ad that's basically not attached to a listing and I'm going to do it, say, weekly, can I do one smart plan for that will, if it's a different ad, do I need a different smart plan? I guess that's the question.
I'm going to Give us
No.
a day.
So Jess is going to show you guys a trigger in a second. So actually, well, Jess, why don't you just go up and do that part now? So at the very top here, you can add a trigger event. So this is why Jess went in and created the tag first. So that what's going to trigger this smart plan to start is whenever 111 Green Village Facebook lead tag gets added to a contact, they're automatically going to be put on this smart plan. So no, Joe, you can use the same smart plan every time. So every time your Facebook ad is running and you get leads for it, you can just go into all those leads, add this tag, and then they're automatically going to start getting this smart plan. If you're, like Joe said, he's not advertising a listing, so it's generic. If you're advertising a listing and you're mentioning the listing within the smart plan, so if you said, you just clicked on my listing on Facebook for 111 Green Village, then make sure you're making a new smart plan every time. Okay, make sense?
Thank you.
But if it's a generic smart plan, not referencing anything, you can use the same smart plan every time. Even if you are advertising listings, so if you have your listing for 111 Green Village and you use the smart plan, and then you get another listing on 123 Main Street, you can just come into this smart plan, add another tag, and then those leads will still get the same smart plan. As long as the wording within the messaging is generic and not mentioning the property, it doesn't matter. Perfect. So is everyone good with what the trigger means? That sometimes confuses people. Good?
So it
Okay.
basically just attaches that specific smart plan to this action of the Facebook. Like that is fantastic because I did it opposite, which is fine because I was just starting. It was just a little campaign. So when they came in, I then clicked them all and added them to the smart or the
Yeah.
after. This is much better.
So it's still not fully automatic. You still have to manually add the tag to the leads,
Yeah.
but then you don't have to add them to the smart plan.
Right. Okay.
And Jess will cover that part. So
Okay, so I'm just gonna click choose trigger. It'll ask you to confirm it.
oh, and one thing to note, if you didn't create a custom tag specifically for this, so if you had a tag, just a generic Facebook lead tag, and you have past contacts with that tag already on, they will not start getting this messaging. It's when the tag is added to a contact. Does that make sense?
No, can you say that again?
Okay, so if you have an existing tag, let's call it Facebook lead, and then you set up the smart plan and you make the trigger the tag Facebook lead, those old contacts with that tag will not start getting the smart plan. It triggers it when it's added to a contact. Okay.
Okay.
So would I have to go back and add them after the fact?
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you wanted those old contacts to start getting the smart plans, you can just manually add them to the smart plan, or you could remove the tag from them and then add it back, which would trigger the smart plan.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna save that. Oh, please complete all required fields.
Do you know when we're gonna get the update that the US has, that it will automatically start doing it like right away? Is that what this is now? Like, is it able to?
Nobody has that yet. It's in the works. I had it for a little bit. I'm in a group where I get access to things before others, so we can test it. So I did have it for a while. I don't anymore. So I assume they're making some more tweaks to it, and then it'll be general availability. So the States doesn't have it yet. It's just that group of people in that program.
Beta testing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did it work good?
So soon, because it's starting to exist.
All right, so we're happy with the smart plan. We have our trigger added. So I clicked save. Just gonna do that again. And now we're ready to build our Facebook ad. So down here, it is the little megaphone icon. So we're gonna go to campaigns. This is the dashboard, so it'll give you sort of an overview if you've run any other ads, about their performance. You can change what shows there, but that's not too important. So we're going to go to paid ads. And this will show you all of your previous ads. So just an overview there. And up at the top here, we're going to click Create Campaign. We're going to choose Social Ad. And we're going to choose, oh, we got to name it first. So Village. And we're going to choose to attract buyers. Even though we're advertising a listing, really we're trying to find buyers and buyer leads. So that will give Facebook or tell Facebook sort of the goal of your ad so that they can get you the best leads. And we're going to choose to run it on Facebook. You can run them on Instagram and Twitter as well if you do use those platforms. But for this, we're just going to choose Facebook and then hit create. Okay. So we're going to advertise a listing. So I'm going to click add listing. And then you have to change this here to all listings. Search. And here it is. So I'm going to hit select. So you can see here on the right-hand side, it's starting to build the ad. So it defaults to choose the first picture on the listing. Here it pulled the description from MLS, but we don't want to give too much information away in the ad because you want them to be curious and click it, and you don't want to exclude anyone. So here it says it's a beautifully maintained 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home. If they're looking for a 4-bedroom, they're not going to click the ad. So you don't want to tell them that right out of the gate. You want them to click the ad, give them your info, and then find out that it doesn't work for them. But then at least you can contact them and help them find a different house. So we're going to remove that. So beautifully maintained home in fabulous Dartmouth location, close to all amenities, blah, 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 blah. So I like that. Here you can enter a headline. Whatever I type here shows up right here. You can add another description right here. It's good to put like a call to action, like click for more information, something like that. Tell them what to do so that they actually do it. So that's good. I'm not creative enough to type something out, so I'm going to click save. If it was your listing, you would obviously put a little bit more effort into it.
The headline would just be like a little something special about the property. So like fenced in backyard or underground pool, just something to draw people into that property. And then like Jess said, the description is a call to action. So like click here to see all the property details or something like that.
So what if you decided you wanted to change the picture and you didn't want the one that the listing was pulling?
Yep.
Is there somewhere to do that?
Yep, that's next.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So if we're happy with how this looks, we can click save. And the next section is media. So here it pulled the first image from the listing. If you wanted to change that, you click it and click change image. It's going to bring up all of the listing images. So maybe you want, let's see, the backyard to be the picture. It'll prompt you to crop it. So you'll want to put it where it looks the nicest. And save. And so that'll change the main image on there. You can add more images. I don't recommend adding too many. You don't want to give away all of the things. So you want them to click it to see all of it, but give them a little sneak peek to reel them in. So maybe we want to add that front picture and the kitchen. Oh, we can only do one at a time. So add this one. Save.
Just as you're doing this, another question. If you guys already have a campaign that's done and it's ran, can you rerun that one but edit it just slightly? Okay.
There's a button that says duplicate and customize, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we can show you that after we create this one.
So maybe you want this one to be the first photo. You can just drag them to change the order. 1 to 3 photos is usually good. And over here now, because we've changed it to multiple photos, it makes a carousel ad on Facebook. So they can scroll through and see those, and the headline and description show on each slide. Okay, so we're happy with that. So we can click save. And then we're going to configure the ad. So it'll be linked to your Facebook as long as you've set that up ahead of time in your settings in Command, which you should have. So it's linked to Erin's account. You have to choose your business page. So I'm going to select this one. So that's where the ad will run. It won't run on your personal Facebook account. It's going to come from your business page. And it doesn't show up as a post on your business page. Erin was about to mention that. So you won't see it on your Facebook page. It shows up like when you're scrolling through Facebook and you get posts that say sponsored. That's what it's going to show up as for people. It's not going to show as a post on your page. I just wanted to mention that because people sometimes look for it.
So if you're not located in your targeted area, you may never see it. Okay. People often run it and then they call me and they're like, it says my ad's running, but I can't see it anywhere. I'm like, well, where are you running it? Toronto. Are you in Toronto? No.
Guys,
Well, then it's not going to come across your screen, right?
in terms of the targeting, I was going to ask, I could only find in mine to run it in certain markets. Like I couldn't go anywhere other than one area with the ad.
No, you can change it. That's the next step. So when Jess scrolls down a little bit after we get through this, she'll show you how to change
Okay.
it.
All right. So because we're looking for leads, we're going to always choose the lead generation form. So this is, so if you're scrolling through Facebook and you see an ad and you click on it, it's going to pop up and ask for first name, last name, email, and phone number. And Facebook knows this already, so they fill it in. So most people aren't going to take the time to take it all out and put in fake information. So you're more likely to get their real information. So if you don't use the lead generation form, you're not going to be gathering leads. You can direct your ad to a site or landing page, and you may get a lot of impressions, which means people are seeing your ad, but you're not gathering their information, which is what you want. So always use the lead generation form. The button label will pretty much always be learn more. The only other options are sign up or apply now, which doesn't really apply to a listing. So we'll leave it as learn more. And then you'll want to put in the destination URL. So when they click the ad and they give your information, then you have to reward them with what they're looking for. So what we recommend is going to your website and finding your listing on your website and putting that link in here. I'm going to use Alex. Go to your website, search for the listing. There it is. So here is your website with the listing on it, gives them all the information. You're going to copy this link. Go back to your campaign. You need to remove the HTTPS there because it's already copied in your link. Wait for that to spin, and it's good. So then when they click the ad, they fill in their information. It's going to direct them to your website so they can look at the listing details. And then targeting. So it defaults to target the area where the listing is. So this listing's in Dartmouth. So it wants to run the ad in Dartmouth with a radius of 25 kilometers. Maybe you don't want to run it in Dartmouth. We're going to click use custom settings. So just toggle this over so it turns green. And then you can change the location and the radius for who you're targeting. So maybe you want to target, like Aaron said, Toronto. If you want to get out of province buyers, maybe Ottawa, something like that. Ontario.
So Eric, you just type it in there. It takes a minute to populate, so you just have to be patient, and then you can click on it once it populates.
But the thing is, Aaron, it only allows you one location.
Yeah, you have to run separate ads
Okay,
if you
that's what
want
it
separate
wanted.
locations.
Okay, no problem.
So then if you pick,
Sorry, I misunderstood what you meant.
and if you pick the right area, and if you just want to extend it or narrow it down, that's where you can pick those kilometers for your radius.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, guys.
25 kilometers is the minimum, though.
So if you want to do 100 kilometers from Ottawa. Oh,
I think 80 is the max.
Yeah, 80 is the max.
okay.
And something happened to me when I did my first ad the other day, and I asked Aaron about it. It's a place that's not really known, little area. And so when I put in the address to listing, it actually showed red and said that the location is not found. And it's just because it's a small little spot on a map. So I was forced, which was fine, to use this part, which was to, right, Aaron? Did I explain that properly?
Yep.
Yeah, so you just go
Yeah,
to,
so just smaller communities, it doesn't pull here. Like, you're never going to type it, what was it, Carol's Corner? Like, if you were advertising a listing not in Carol's Corner, you're never going to choose, I want to target Carol's Corner, right? Like, so it's
Yeah.
just not an option in this list. So because that's where that listing was, it couldn't fill in. So I think you just ended up putting in like Enfield or whatever, right? Or
Yeah.
I think you did Dartmouth actually, but
yeah.
same thing happened to Alex one time. He had a listing in Conrod Settlement. So same thing. It did not know where that was. So he just manually typed in Dartmouth, which is near.
And I also did it at like 11:45. Well, I started at earlier, but at 11:45 at night. So it also went red because I was on to the next day when I went to send it. It was like 12:02. So I had 2 errors and then just booked Aaron in the morning, had it figured out. But
Perfect. You can also do expert targeting. This is where you can add like interests to target specific people. It's not recommended if you're just listing a normal house. You don't want to exclude anyone. Everyone wants to live somewhere. So we don't recommend adding interests unless it's like a very obscure type of listing, like a resort or a horse farm or something like that. So yeah, I wouldn't add any interests unless it's a very specific type of property. And then we'll click save. And then it wants you to select your budget. So this is where you choose how long you want to run the ad and how much you want to spend. So it defaults, I believe, to 10 days and $3 per day, making a $30 budget. So if you only wanted to spend $10, you put that in, you can see the daily went down to $1, so $1 a day. You can reduce the duration, so maybe you only want to run this from the 11th to the 15th, so it's 4 days. You still keep the $10 budget, so the daily just went up. So you can adjust it as needed. You don't need to spend a whole lot. Obviously, the more you spend, the more impressions you're going to get, but it's the quality of your ad and the photos and all of that that's actually going to get people to click. You can get thousands of people looking at it, but if no one clicks, you're not going to get any leads. So the focus really is making sure that your ad is set up nicely and makes people want to click it. And one other thing, if you decide, so let's say we ran this from the 11th to the 19th, but on the 15th you got an accepted offer, you can pause it. So it stops running the ad, but you're still going to be charged the full amount that you budgeted for the campaign from your credit card, but it will be a credit on your account. So then the next ad you run, it'll spend out of that credit, if that makes sense.
The credit won't show up until the original ad would have ended. So if you had this scheduled until June 19th, on the 15th you paused it, you can't create an ad on the 16th expecting to use the credit from this ad. You have to wait until after the 19th. Does that make sense? Okay.
All right. So I click save, and that's the last section. So once you're happy with everything that you've set up, you can publish it right away, or you can save it as a draft if you're not ready to publish it. I'm not going to publish this because I'm not an agent and this is not my listing. So I'm going to click save draft.
Just keep in mind, you click publish right away, but it does not actually publish until the next day. So Facebook reviews all ads before it gets published, whether you do it through command or through Facebook. Facebook reviews it. So it won't publish until the next day. Likely if you clicked publish today, you'll wake up tomorrow to a couple of leads. That's usually how it works.
So just say, so I ran mine, it was only like for 4 days and then it ended. And then I wanted to run it again. So I did that, duplicate, and then I hit go and it's pending. And I'm like, oh, actually I want to go over the weekend, right? Because you might as well make it last the weekend. That's when you get the most.
Mhm.
So I went in and paused it and then recreated another one.
Mhm.
Or could I have gone in and while it was already being reviewed, could I have edited it again while it was in review state, I guess is what I'm asking, instead of just recreating and editing again?
I'm not sure if you can edit it when it's being in the reviewed stage status.
Okay, I'll check it out
Yeah,
next time.
you'd have to
But
just
yeah.
click those 3 dots and see what the options are. The way you did it, you might get charged twice for it.
Oh. I get it, but I'll get a credit if
You'll
I
have
don't.
a credit, yeah, later.
Okay. Okay, I get it. So is there any way of deleting? Like, so I have that thing 3 times. One was completed, one was paused, and one's working. Is there any way of deleting the paused one just for
I
clean?
don't know, just on my paused one there, see if you can get rid of it. Archive,
Okay, you can then, just so it keeps things,
yeah,
Okay.
so you don't have to look at it there.
okay.
All right. So here's the ad that we created. Obviously it says draft because I did not publish it. And these are all blank because it's not a live ad yet. But you can see below here, this is an ad that Aaron ran that is completed. It went for 1 day. So here it tells you the cost per impression. So this is how many people actually were just scrolling through Facebook and they saw it. They didn't click on it, but it was visible to them. This is how many people clicked on the ad. So you can see 185 people clicked on it and she gathered 16 leads. So of the 185 people that clicked, 16 of them filled out the form and gave their information.
That's
So-
a lot for 1 day, right? That's a lot for 1 day, because I didn't get anything day 1 day. It wasn't until day 3 that I started getting things. So that was really good. That was a good campaign.
Yeah, and that's totally normal that your leads are way less than your clicks.
Oh,
How
yeah.
many times do you guys click on something on Facebook and you're like, oh, what's this? You click on it and then it asks for your information and you're like, no, right? And you're like, cancel, get me out of here. I'm not giving anyone my information. So that's totally normal. That's a big difference.
Mhm.
So 94 cents a lead is what that one ended up being. So I spent $15 total and gathered 16 leads. So that's 94 cents per lead, which is pretty good. And keep in mind, this one was a career night lead or career night ad, which is less interesting to people than listings. People are interested in listings. You can see I had a couple with 3 leads. Those ones were videos. I wasn't concerned about getting leads on those videos. I was concerned about getting KW's story out there. So my 3,000 impressions on each one is what I was going for. I just wanted people to see the video.
That's the other thing to think too for a lot of us new ones here that are starting to get into it is you gotta look at the impressions. Like if you're not getting leads, look at your impressions, right? And then if you create another one, you're gonna get more impressions, and it might be the same people. And then you create another one, more impressions, and then just keep seeing you, right?
And then they want to list their house and they're like, oh, why does Dennis Oikel's name sound familiar? He must be big. I'll reach out to him, right? Just because your name was in their Facebook feed so many times.
I'm huge.
Perfect.
So impressions are important. Leads are what you're after, but impressions are still really important.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And it gives
for
you a
that,
lot of data
Dennis.
too, because if you're getting thousands of impressions and 0 leads, maybe you need to revisit the strategy that you're using for your ads or the photos or things like that. So it kind of gives you an idea of what you need to change if that's not working. All right, so the final step, we created the tag and added it to the smart plan. And now we need to add the tag to any leads that have come in on your ad. So let's pretend that this is the ad we ran, and we've gotten these leads from it. All you have to do is click on 16 leads. It's going to bring you into all the leads that you've gathered on that ad. And up here, you can click this checkbox. Oh, I can't select these, can I?
Mine's set up weird because it was a recruiting ad. This won't happen to you.
Okay.
I forwarded all my leads to Laura Lee. Now I can't do anything with them. That's why they're grayed out and Jess can't click on them. But just, yeah, that wouldn't normally happen. All my leads are forwarded directly to Laura Lee so she can follow up with them because they're recruiting.
Okay.
It's probably going to happen no matter which ad you do.
Yeah. So in theory, you would click here to select all of them. And is there a button that says add tags?
Yeah, so once you select them, so like Jess said, you just click that button at the top to select everybody. It pops up at the very bottom, add tag, and then you would just choose which tag. So in this case, we'd add that 111 Green Village Facebook lead, add the tag, which triggers the smart plan. Now they start getting that messaging.
Yeah.
You don't want to wait until your ad is done to come add the tag to them. You want to come in, like every time you have 5 minutes, come in and add any new leads. So they're getting the messaging right away. The amount of times that you're going to message somebody and they're going to say, I didn't click on anything, because they don't remember. I mean, how many things do we click on every single day? You don't remember everything you clicked on. And they didn't type out their information. It was pre-filled. So they don't remember doing it. So the sooner you start the messaging, the more likely they are to remember that they clicked on that, or at least more likely to remember what you're talking about, what house that they clicked on. My mom is not buying a house, but she clicks on every single house she sees anywhere possible, right? So she doesn't remember at the end of the day which houses she looked at. So the sooner you get this messaging going out to them, the fresher it is in their memory, so they know what you're talking about.
I have, go ahead, Dennis.
It was a great conversation though. So my first one was when I did it, I didn't do a smart plan. I just wanted to do it because I didn't think I was gonna get a lot of hits. I had 13. I wrote it all down. And the moment I had the email, or the moment Kelly, right, she told me, or the moment I had the email, I was either emailing or calling or texting right away. So, and it was good, and I just kept track of it. And anyway, I had one hang up, and someone else already had a realtor within our company.
So keep in mind, just mentioned this, Facebook leads are very, very cold. They're hard to convert. Emails aren't going to convert them, right? How many things do you guys click on? And then you start getting emails and you have zero intentions of doing anything with that person or that company. Emailing them isn't going to do it, right? Phone calls are going to do it the best, then texting, then emails.
I have a quick question about taxes. So to keep track of the money that I'm spending here, I know, just so anyone, I know I did receive the email stating that you paid whatever for this. Is there a way that I can go, instead of keeping all those all the time, is there anywhere I can go in here to say, what did I spend this year?
No, unfortunately. Well, yeah, sorry. So if you go back to the dashboard, Jess, at the top, yeah.
Because I'm really trying to be good about.
You can, so see where it says past 30 days. If you switch that, I think you can go past 12 months.
Or year.
See your total spend.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Saving me paper.
But it doesn't tell you exactly what it's for. Try to keep those emails Your
Okay.
accountants will, if you're using an accountant, they'll appreciate it.
Good to know. Thanks.
Just wanted to see.
Oh, this does show
Okay.
you.
So it's in the payments, like where you would set up your credit card. It gives you all the metrics. So obviously we have only done Facebook, but if you ran Instagram or Twitter, it'll give you all of that, as well as any emails that you send from Command, because you have like a allotted amount. And then you just click all campaigns. And it breaks it down by campaign, how much you've spent.
Good. Okay.
Perfect,
Bonus.
thanks.
Oh, and you can download a report. I'm just curious what this looks like. Oh, yeah, it doesn't look like anything.
Oh,
So
we
this is
can't
probably
see
the
it.
easiest way. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just like a Word doc that lists all of this, so it doesn't make it any easier to read.
But at least it's there. Just trying to keep things streamlined.
Yeah. Be nice if they like totaled it at the bottom.
I wonder if they do on the 5th page, but
No, there's only the one page.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, cool.
So I guess the way Aaron showed it at the beginning on the dashboard, like year to date, you can see like a total number instead of sitting there and adding it all together.
So any questions? That is the workflow on how to do it. So you create your tag, create your smart plan with the tag that you just created as your trigger, run your ad, add your leads, or add the tag to your leads, which will trigger the smart plan. Any questions?
Is there going to be a recording of this video?
Yeah, it goes on our YouTube channel.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about some things. So I get all the time, why would I ever create a Facebook ad in Command versus just doing it on Facebook? So a couple reasons. First reason is it's a lot easier. A lot of the guesswork is taken out. If any of you have ever created an ad on Facebook, there's so much more details you need to fill in. Like here, you just really have to choose which area you're targeting. And other than that, you can add interest if you want to, but you don't have to. If you ever create an ad in Facebook, you get to the point where you're like, oh my God, I don't know, just run my ad, like just send it. So Facebook and KW worked together to build this portion of Command. So Facebook did all that back end stuff to be a real estate ad every time. So that's one reason. The other reason is it's a little bit cheaper. I'm not sure of exact numbers on what our discount is, but we do get a discounted rate because according to Facebook, KW is one customer. So we have 190,000 agents using one account. So to Facebook, we're this amazing customer, right? We're giving them so much money. So we get a preferred rate. So when you run an ad, your credit card will be charged by KW, and then KW pays Facebook. Okay. And then the last reason is because your leads automatically are going to come into your contacts in Command. You don't have to sit down on Facebook, find all the leads from your Facebook ad, and then enter them into your contacts. It takes away that step for you. And eventually, very, very soon, I'm hoping one of the parts of creating the Facebook ad will say, what tag do you want all these leads to get? So you'll put in your tag right in the creation of the Facebook ad. Then you don't have to sit down every time you have a spare 5 minutes and add the tag to every new lead. It'll automatically do it, which will automatically trigger the smart plan. So you'll instantly get a task saying, call this person. They'll instantly get a text message. Okay. One other thing that I could go through if you guys wanted is an example of an ad to run when you don't have a listing.
Do you want me to share my screen again?
Yeah. So the best performing ads are ads that are advertising a listing. People like to click on real things, right? We click on products we click on products on Facebook more than we click on services. So an ad saying, hey, I'm a realtor, use me to buy a house, you're not going to get leads. Like, that's not interesting to people, sorry. But a listing, it's something that they can actually look at. It's a product, right? Versus a service. So that's hard for new people, and most people, well, a few exceptions, but most people on this call are pretty new. So you don't always have a listing. Well, and in this market, no one has a listing at all times because there's nothing for sale. So it's hard to run ads when you don't have a listing that will still get leads. So I have found one example that is performing okay. It's still not as good as a listing. People like real tangible things to look at. But you can advertise an area. So you can say homes for sale in the Dartmouth area. If you want to be a little more specific, you could say homes for sale in the Dartmouth area under $250,000. Although that might be hard to find right now too. But something that might make people click, right? Right now, everyone's perception is the real estate market's insane. I can't afford anything, blah, 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 blah. So if you give them, here's a list of homes for sale under 250,000, that might pique their interest. They might be like, oh, well, I can do 250,000. I mean, it's probably going to sell for more than 250, but the list price is 250. So creating the ad, well, Jess, you can take over.
Okay. So we're gonna do it the same way to attract buyers. I named it Homes in Dartmouth under 250K. Select that. And Facebook. All right. So we're not gonna add a listing here. What we're gonna do, let's see. I'm going to use Alex's website again. So I'm going to go to the website and search Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. It's going to show me all of Dartmouth. I can zoom in here, be a little more specific, not get Halifax. I can sort it or filter it by price. Under So now it's showing me all the homes in this area, the like 10 of them, under 250K. I'm going to copy this link here, which would be our destination URL. So when they click your ad, it's going to bring them here.
Which, by the way, is live. So if you create this ad today and there's 13 properties for sale, and then they click on the ad in 6 days from now, there might be 15 properties for sale or 10 properties for sale. These sites are IDX fed, so it's just updating based on what's actually
who's the website provider on that website?
Command, KW Command.
Okay.
And so yeah, you can use any website. Most newer agents are using the Command sites because they're free. But yeah, any site at all, like if you have a different provider, you can go to that site. And hopefully you can search within the price range like we just did, and then use that URL.
So type something there. Headline, description, not going to type it all in. And save. And so you can pick like a photo of Dartmouth or a random house. Let's see. I don't think. So did you just Google a photo? I see.
Yeah. We're going to just Google a photo. You do have to make sure that you have the correct rights to use this photo.
Yeah. So you could use like a stock photo website that has royalty-free images that you're allowed to use for commercial use. There's a few.
Well, Jess, why don't you just go to what's it called?
This one.
Is there one called Pixels or something?
Pixabay.
Pixabay.
Something.
That's what I was trying to say.
Pixabay. There's Pexels. There's.
Should you just look up like a picture of Dartmouth or even like the bridge or whatever? Like,
so just think of what's going to make people click, right? A picture of the bridge may not Yeah,
Not
Dennis?
bridge, but yeah.
So I was just gonna, so I did it and I watched your other video that's up there and I went through, paused it, did it.
Oh, you froze.
He's demonstrating the pause.
I realized I had to do Sackville and surrounding areas to make it bigger because the homes I was getting just didn't look nice. So
Right.
I went out Sackville and surrounding areas. So I had that 25-kilometer radius and I could not find a house anywhere that looked like anything. So I found a nice picture of a kitchen though, and I posted that.
Yeah. So
And that
kitchens
was my
make people
picture.
click. Nice like bedrooms with a headboard with a nice wall behind it would make people click. You want to make sure. So this
That
goes back.
picture-
Jess mentioned the quality of the ad, right? You need to use something that's going to want to make people click.
Yeah, my picture I used was actually there a second ago when she was scrolling. She scrolled by.
Yeah, so on the side here, it tells you that it's free for commercial use, no attribution required. So you're allowed to use this photo for anything there. So I'm just gonna save the image. Go back to the campaign.
You cannot use an old listing photo for this unless you have permission from the past seller and then the person who bought it. So just don't go there.
So I'll click add images. And you can choose from designs, like if you use designs to make a graphic, which is also an option. You could upload that here, but we're just gonna upload an image. Drag it. Maybe. No. Not saving. Download it this way. Oh, goodness. Does this count? Oh my God. Sometimes if you want things for free, we have to do a little work.
Yeah.
And download. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't letting me download the other way. So then we'll drag that on there. And we'll preview and crop. We want just that view and we'll save. So we use that kitchen photo. We'll save that. And then in the Facebook settings, still going to choose our page, lead generation form, that's all the same. And for the website URL, we're going to paste the link from the website that was showing all the properties.
So this adds a little bit more work. You have to be more creative. Before, when we chose the listing, it pulled over the photos, it pulled over the write-up. We just tweaked it a little. So this one, you do have to do some more work. You have to write all of the text on the ad. But when you don't have a listing to advertise, it's a great way to gather some leads.
Emojis.
Yeah, and add emojis.
You mentioned that in the last video.
Emojis make people click more. So just a little smiley face, Jess. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I have a Mac, so I have an emoji button. That's what I was using. So, yeah, I should have mentioned that. Emojis make people click things a lot more.
But yeah, so other than that, you don't really do anything different for the ad. You just have to be more creative. And then the URL will be slightly different. So you're just going to give them a link to a search rather than a link to a specific property. Any questions about that? No? All right. I'm looking forward to seeing some ads as I'm scrolling through Facebook. Just think, you could run an ad like this one with a pretty broad radius, like just Halifax in general, and run it in Ontario. We know so many people are moving from Ontario to Halifax. They don't know the difference between Halifax or Porters Lake or whatever, right? Like, you don't need to be concerned with that. Just looking to move to Halifax, buy a home with a yard for under $500,000, right? Like, that's a big deal to people living in Toronto, and they can barely buy a condo for $1 million, right?
So in that case, Aaron, we would do 2 ads. Like I'd run this, go to preview and then duplicate and then just change the location.
Yeah, if you wanted to run it in both Halifax and Toronto.
Because that would kind of make sense
Yeah.
if the spend.
And I'm thinking about doing the same thing, just use my old ad, but tweaking
Yes.
the cost. That's it, and leave
Yeah.
everything. else as
So
is.
just back out of this one. So obviously we're not gonna run this ad. So she can just back out.
Yeah, and just change some of the content, Dennis, to.
Yeah,
further
so
content.
just go to one of the completed ones there and click the 3 dots. So yeah, you can say duplicate campaign. And then you can say duplicate and run, and that will just make it run again, or you can say duplicate and customize if you want to tweak anything.
Nope, that sounds great. Appreciate it.
So it brings it up, it's the exact same, and then you would obviously, if you need to tweak the wording, or if you're just changing location, you would just go to that section and change where it's being run.
Awesome session. Thanks, ladies. This was great.
No worries.
Aaron, I was gonna send you a private message, but I don't know which one is you because you got KW select and
Oh,
KW
yeah.
select. So I, was I looked at your calendar. You're free after this. Did you want to just stay on? I just had a quick question.
Yeah, sure.